Hi, how's everybody doing today? My name is Stephen Rosenberg. This is Ginzburg, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. We have a great topic today because we're going to be talking about the evolution of social media sites. How are you doing so far today, Gene?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here as always. And this is an interesting topic. So we've seen the rise of social media platforms in our lifetime. I mean, as adults, so we have seen it all happen. And now that some of them have matured, we're seeing that things are changing. So let's talk about Twitter. I'm not as active on Twitter, but you are. So what are your thoughts on now Twitter's almost, 15 years old now, probably?
Yeah, Twitter is one of the longest standing ones. I think that Twitter is really quickly becoming known and utilized as merely just a media and news site. I think that
So I guess let's start from the beginning. What did it used to be when it first became?
What it used to be? Well, it used to be a form of communication for a live time. I mean, I still think it is that. I just think that the purpose of it is more for live, up to the second information. And that's really what the internet is all about, is giving everybody information at your fingertips when it's convenient for you. And it's updated like that, and it can spread worldwide. And it gave people for the first time a network where states and countries and things of that nature didn't matter. You could all come to one place and communicate. So I think it's still very much a communication hub. I just think that the difference now is where it used to be more of a social network, it is now turned into a live, up-to-date news network.
Interesting. From a perspective of a monetization perspective, I know that Twitter has been having a lot of trouble with that in many years. I wouldn't say, of course. There's plenty of social media platforms that have done very well with monetization, but Twitter seems to have.
Not one of them. They've never done really well on the monetization part.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point on how Facebook has done really well, Instagram, even Snapchat is now, we're going to get into Snapchat too later on. That's an interesting point. So what do you think about Instagram? You're very active on Instagram. You've been using it for a while.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
So I think that Instagram is definitely probably the most powerful platform because it is utilized by the most eyeballs, but not overcrowded enough, such as Facebook. And there are certain limitations and guidelines and rules. Using it is adapting much more so to the mainstream of people. I think that it's really powerful because it's all about pictures, whereas Facebook and Twitter is much more about using your words or videos. But I just think that Instagram has definitely got the most attention these days, and it is the cheapest platform to advertise on because it's new and it's not overcrowded.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there. It's such a good platform, amazing platform. So many people are on it. You're still able to get organically into the feed, which with Facebook, if you're a business, that's pretty much impossible unless you're paying for it. And still, not as crowded. More creative still, I feel like. So, and we'll get into Facebook, but I just feel like it's so much different. But the other thing that I'm seeing is that older generation is not real, or generations are not really using Instagram, and it's more like younger generations that are using it.
I would slightly disagree with that.
Okay.
I think for the majority, you're correct. But I also think that, there's a huge niche of people in their 40s and even 50s that are using Instagram much more so now. And I think also what you're seeing from a society standpoint is people are now shifting their behaviors in different platforms. So what I mean by that is the way that you communicate and act to Instagram is different than the way that you're going to act and behave on Twitter or Facebook or Snapchat.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But from one of the things, the feedback that I've been seeing is that, for example, high school kids or kids or people in their 20s, they don't use Facebook anymore, and they're definitely and Facebook is seeing very much a decrease in in usership from that particular generation, and much more. They're more using, of course, they're more using Instagram and Snapchat. So yeah, I guess there's a few people in the generations of the 40s and the 50s that are signing up, but I just feel like that Facebook is much more so for like the 30s plus millennials, even people who are like in their 50s or 60s, because they got on there for like grandkids and everything like that to look at pictures. So Facebook, we can switch over to that now. So been around for a long time. It started off in like 2003, just internally for Mark Zuckerberg, but then rolled out to everybody in like 2007 or 6 or something like that. So been around for a while, right? But such a behemoth now, and have had so many changes to it in the past few years, I think. I use Facebook for my clients, and I think that's still a great targeting platform because you can target so easily versus like with Instagram and other platforms, you can't do such granular targeting. But so many changes lately, and so many privacy issues that we're seeing with Facebook. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, first of all, I think that Mark Zuckerberg's a genius. And luckily for him, he's so smart that he bought Instagram right away as cheaply as he could. And so they still own both sets of data. So I think that's number one and very smart of him. So from a standpoint, Facebook overall, they're still a leader because they own Instagram. But other than that, I think that Facebook it's going through a very difficult time right now. There's a lot of eyeballs, but it's really about the whole internet and privacy as a whole. I just think Facebook is the big player on the playground, so they're the ones that are obviously going to take the brunt of it initially. But it's a much bigger conversation, and unfortunately, they're going to take a lot of heat for it. I think it'll be interesting to see how they can adapt their business model, because before, what incentivized them to do all this stuff, and data is what's really selling, the advertising and the data behind it and all these things. So I think that they're still going to continue to be a leader, but I do think that they're going to have to go through a rocky patch, and maybe it'll get worse before it gets better. But I still have the utmost confidence that they'll be able to adapt and evolve as a company. And if not, they'll be able to rebrand themselves under a different business, such as Instagram.
Interesting. Okay. And then last but not least is Snapchat. So from what I heard recently, Snapchat is rolling out advertising on a self-service platform, right?
Yes, correct.
I think so, yeah. So they've rolled out advertising before to just specific like back-end account management for like bigger brands, but now I think they're rolling out to anybody who is interested in advertising. So any small business could be advertising on Snapchat, which is, of course, for a younger demographic. So teens and 20s, I'd say. I wouldn't even say 30s, would you?
I mean, I would. I think it's 30s, but primarily you're right. It's definitely for 20s and teenagers. And that's because I think the privacy settings and limitations on that are so much better than everybody else's. And so I think that's why it's going to continue to win over the quote unquote kids, because it's the one place that their parents can't really see them if they don't want them to.
Can't bind them, right? Because they don't know how to.
I think Snapchat will definitely come into some data issues in the future. I think all of the companies are probably using data in a way that people don't necessarily know. And again, like I said before, I think Facebook was just the first to get really publicly exposed. But I think that a lot of companies, most companies, are doing it in some way. Not necessarily maliciously, but it's happening is what I'm trying to say. So I definitely think that, we'll see what happens. But I think it's a powerful platform. I think that especially if you're trying to sell any kind of products that are geared towards anybody that's 25 and under, Snapchat is where you should be. You should not be on Facebook trying to advertise to a 15-year-old or a 25-year-old. I think that is a really big waste of money.
Awesome. Well, we're almost out of time. So yeah, I think that's great. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And I think this is an interesting topic to discuss. So, and we'd love to hear from you, of course. So please share your comments on what you think the evolution of social media platforms has become. So thanks so much, Stephen.
Thanks, Gene.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Gene.